ignore the mess. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge and celebrate women and women showing up for women. One of my friends is experiencing the worst period pain. She has been on the mini pill now for some time. She's also had the implant as well, and she's kind of switched between the two since I think 18, 19, something like that. So it's been about like 5-ish years for her, and she's just having a really horrible time, and she feels like she's going insane. And this isn't actually talked about enough, how contraception is not all that it seems. And I think more people are aware of this than we realize. It's just that it's not spoken about, nor is it always mentioned on the NHS website. The actual side effects of birth control. And anyway, my friend was going through this, is going through this right now, and it's horrendous, and a lot of doctors don't even know what's going on with her, and they want to perform like an invasive surgery to test as well what's going on. But a lot of medical professionals don't know what's going on, and I feel like this isn't the first time I've heard of medical professionals not knowing how to handle women's health. I don't want to be here and on the healthcare system, and we're still privileged being in the West and having access to healthcare and sanitary products and all of that, but it still doesn't change the fact that women still struggle with something that honestly in the 21st century it shouldn't really be a struggle at this point anymore, not to this extent. But I just wanted to take a moment to celebrate girls and women showing up for each other. So my friend's been dealing with this, and I said hey, because I've experienced period pain, but not to this extreme where I've had to seek out medical help. Let me ask a couple of my friends. One of them I know has some experience with a patch, and another one I know has PCOS, and let me see if I can find out about any other forms of contraceptives that perhaps might help you better, or about any other form of pain relief. So I reached out to these two friends and one of those friends was in a chat with another friend, so in total that was 3 girls. I also sent a message to 2 other girls that I'm in a chat with, and then I sent a message to another 3 girls that I'm in a chat with. So I did this obviously because my friend needs the help, and I don't have a lot of experience with different types of contraception and hormones and with that level of pain. So I reached out. I got responses, from all parties that I reached out to within a matter of a few hours. Within the first hour I heard back from the majority of the girls, and really kind, genuine stuff. All these girls wishing my friend well. And before I'd hung up on my friend, I'd said, listen, I'll do my bit, I'll ask over here, you ask your friends over there if they have any recommendations. And it's incredible, the way that, and I said to her, I was don't feel any shame in asking. You would be surprised, it's very rare to find girls or women that will not show up for each other like this. And I was so right. And we're so, I think it really it really goes to show. First of all, I'm so grateful to these people that contacted me back and that provided those recommendations that will now hopefully help my friend, even if it is just a little bit. But this is the thing, this is why women need each other, this is why girls need each other, because we understand each other in a way that sometimes maybe the medical professionals don't. There is so much that's not spoken about. Sorry about the background noises, but there is so much that is swept under the rug when it comes to women's health, and our sort of intuition is often ignored. And this is why we need community, why we need each other, why we need to be open with each other and share our experiences honestly. And it's been incredible to, on the one hand, extremely sad and disappointing hearing, how many, like, countless stories of how my friends have been neglected, or their pain has been dismissed. I'm so sick of hearing that story, but on the other hand, it was incredible. It was overwhelmingly heartwarming, having these girls reach out or like message me back and give their advice and their recommendations, and share some of their stories too. And I am so honored to be a woman. I'm so honored to be a female in a world that still in many ways tells us that it's a disadvantage. I think that we are naturally, I'm not dissing men are very capable of experiencing empathy, but I think that one of that women's natural traits, most of the time we're naturally more empathetic, and that's something that has been seen as a weakness in the past, but I think that it's a beautiful thing, and that the fact that a stranger can wish another stranger well in something like this and mean it sincerely from the bottom of their heart, it speaks volumes about our sex, or about our gender, let's say, and I am honored to be a part of that. So I'm sorry if I've said anything that's not politically correct. Please feel free to correct me, but I just wanted to take a moment to be like, hey, women, like, you know, another one for us. Like, we're pretty awesome, and this is just one of the things that makes us really cool. The fact that we're so ready to drop what we're doing and be like, I got you, you know, whether it's lending a pad or a tampon or a paracetamol or giving some advice. It's that type of thing that most of the time, I want to say 9 times out of 10, because there are always a few funny people out there, 9 times out of 10, a woman will have your back. And one thing I actually want to touch on, I mean, my friend and I were talking about it on the phone for a second, about, you know, when she started her period and everything, and I just got thinking about, you know, when I started mine, and the reality is that, and she was telling me about the pain she was experiencing and how she was told it was normal, and I'm just like, there are young girls out there that are basically fertile, but they're still girls, and they're being, you know, gaslighted into thinking that that excruciating pain is normal. And we need education, we need community, we need women listening to each other and talking to one another honestly about this, because the reality is that the medical system, the healthcare system, doesn't always get it. They don't always get it right, and they won't always have your back, and you really have to fight for what you want. You have to fight to be heard, often because the pain is internal, because you're a woman, you know, maybe even if you're a person of color, which is horrendous to say, but sometimes that comes into play. You know, our pain is dismissed, our experience is dismissed, and obviously that goes into many aspects of a woman's life. But with regards to this, with regards to health, I'm very grateful that I grew up with a father that was very comfortable buying me sanitary products when my mother wasn't there. I'm very grateful that I grew up with a mum that was honest with me. I'm very grateful that I, despite the lack of full sexual education at school, they still taught us something. So I'm grateful that I had the experience that I did, even if at times things could have been better. But the reality is, it's not even, a lot of people can't even say that for themselves. A lot of people look back and they have the most traumatic stories, and they're still struggling with those traumatic stories today, if not new ones. And I think that we have the power to change that, especially now with social media, and with knowledge and the tools that the internet provides. And I really feel sometimes that Reddit and Quora, I think Reddit, YouTube comments are a more helpful resource than the NHS website when it comes to talking about personal experiences with regards to contraception, because where else are you supposed to find out about it? I think when you go into when you look online, on the official websites, when you look, when you go to school, when you speak to the GP, when you speak with to someone perhaps at the sexual health clinic, they're going to give you very standard textbook answers, and I suppose that's their job. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't think I'm qualified to make a comment on that. But what I do know is that knowledge is power, and I think that we know more, women know more than we're given credit for. And there are so many personal stories and experiences out there that have to be or should be shared. And I can, mostly just speak for myself, but from what I know of with my friends or with friends of friends, everyone's got a period story. Everyone's got a contraception / pad, tampon type of story, like, or menstrual cup. Everyone's got something up their sleeve. If you know, like, pun intended. Actually it wasn't, but after I said it, fully intended. I just think that there's still so much unnecessary stigma surrounding menstruation, women's health. I mean, I was at Boots the other day and I was picking up some panty liners and pads, and there was this guy, and he was like, I think like walking behind me, and he was with his girlfriend, I would assume. And the way I figured this was because they were in the same section, and he was like, what are you worrying about? Like, all the women, they come here and they get this. And from what I sensed, it was like the woman, the girl, and these people were like my age, like in their 20s, young 20s. And it seemed that the woman, the girl, when I say woman, was self-conscious about picking up sanitary products. And now I don't know what her setup is, how she's grown up, the stigmas she's witnessed growing up and in her environment, and I don't judge her for that. But I do feel that, a lot of that probably isn't on her. I think it's on society as a whole, and though we've come a long way, like we can't dismiss that, we can't discount that, ignore it basically and pretend that our progress doesn't exist. It does. I still think we have a long way to go, and I think that things such as pain going on for years, undiagnosed or dismissed, I think that is just unacceptable, and I think we should be in a better place than that now in the 21st century, especially in the West. So I really feel that it is our responsibility as women, as I'm going to say women, not young girls, because I think they are still going through it, but I think it is our responsibility as women to educate and empower one another, help one another, lean on one another, be there for one another, and do the same for the younger generation and the young girls that are now growing up. When I said everyone has a story, I don't necessarily mean a positive one. I mean, yeah, sure, I can look back and be like, oh yeah, I remember that time I leaked, or, where I couldn't get a tampon. Like, some things, I can laugh at, but there are other things where, perhaps boys made certain comments, or I didn't know how to handle something, or, when my friends have been in pain and no one has been able to find a solution for them, and things like that shouldn't be happening. So the more we talk about it, the more we discuss our experiences, what we would do differently, what, the truth of what's going on, the more the younger generation and the more young girls will be empowered, and they won't have to hopefully go through the same experiences as we did. So yeah, that's it. I wanted to, I guess, just say thank you. It is an honor to be a woman, and also that we have a responsibility to each other, to ourselves, and to younger girls, to make something more seamless than it is. I'm trying to find the right words, but I think you get what I'm saying from this video. Majority of us, you know, we have a sister, we have a cousin, we have a friend, we have even our younger selves that I'm sure we can see ourselves in. Basically a girl that we want to protect, at least one girl that we want to protect and look out for, even if it is just your younger self or your present or future self. I think we owe it to ourselves and to women to be honest about our experiences and to show up for each other. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there, I think, and I hope that that sparks a conversation. And if you guys have any, first of all, if you have any like tips on period pain and your stories with that and different forms of contraception, put that down below. And then also let me know your thoughts on this discussion of the healthcare system, whether you're in the UK or abroad. Tell me your experience with that and how your pain has been dealt with, or other medical issues, and the stigmas that perhaps you grew up with, lack of education that you grew up with, whether it was yours or the people around you, and how that was projected onto you and your development. Let's start a conversation. Let's start multiple conversations, because I think it's important. Yeah, that's it for now. I really hope that this can create a positive, productive movement for women. And if you're in pain, if you're on your period, you're PMSing, I just want to say you're not alone, and we got you. We got you. Alright, that's it for now. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.